Hi and welcome. So this is a quick project. We're just taking some pieces of 304 stainless and make a pig puller to make pulled pork. So we're going to make a little disc out of this 304. I'm going to drill some holes in it, press fit and weld in some 1/4 inch rods and put a 1/2 inch arbor on the back. Set it up so you can use it with your drill motor. Reduce one end to a 3/8 shank so it'll go in a 3/8 drill motor. We saw it on Amazon, decided to make our own. My brother-in-law was inspiring me again, so here we are, and we're heading over. We had another piece we had parted off earlier, so we're going to start by facing this, cleaning it up a little bit, drilling it for an arbor down the center, and then taking it over to the lathe, the mill rather, and we will drill the holes for the tines that will be used to shred the pork or pull the pork. All right. Changed inserts because the other inserts were just chipping really easily for whatever reason. So we're doing a 5,000 skim pass with a different kind of insert to see how it works. It's better at making a bird's nest.
You're gonna love that.
Yeah. Still a better finish in spite of the bird's nest scratching it. That's a very smooth finish, but the bird's nest did scratch it. So next we're going to drill for 1/2 inch. By the way, if the chips coming off are not symmetrical, it means your drill bit was not cut correctly or ground correctly. That means it's not cutting equally on both sides.
Have you seen that?
Yes. On bits I've sharpened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Pump it into the knife though.
This way.
Like butter.
This is carbide tip reamer. So this is our 1/2 inch arbor for the drill motor, and I just faced the ends and relieved the sides just a little bit. If you have a 3/8 inch drill motor, then you just need to turn one end down to 3/8 so that you can drive it in a drill motor. But for us, that's not a problem, so we're moving on to the drill press. So we weren't looking for extreme precision on the center because this is just a cooking implement, but we did want to get close. So I have a 1/2 inch rod that was turned to a point, which makes it easy to self-find center. So now I've got my 0 point, and coming up here, I am going to use the bolt hole function to set the number of bolt holes that I'm interested in based on the 0 point where we're at. So here's how the bolt hole function works on my Sino, and I'm going to have to read as I go. So I'm at my 0 point right now, dead center in the circle. Hit the PCD function, which is the bolt hole, and we want the plane to be in the XY plane, which is correct, so we can just hit enter. Center position is where we're at now, and so X 0 enter, Y 0 enter. We're now at the center. The diameter of the circle will be 2 inches. We want to be plus or minus 1 inch off center. So if I hit enter, Diameter is going to be 2-inch diameter. Number of holes has to be 7 because it's one more than the number of holes. You need the last hole to end up on the starting point. So it's going to be 7. We want 6 holes equally spaced around the circle. The start angle will be next. Is going to be 0. End angle is 360. So now it's showing my first hole will be 1 inch to the right. My second hole, let's go to the second hole, is over from the center a half, up 0.86. So all you do to find your hole position is you adjust your X and Y axes until you get 0, 0 for the hole number you're on. Hole number 1, I adjust it so we're 0, 0. Here's hole number 1, 1 inch off center, and there we are. This is really hard material, and I was going to go straight to a 1/4 inch, but I think I'm going to walk it up. I'm going to go through 1/8 first because it's really giving me a tough time cutting. So let me get an 1/8 inch. So a trick I've found, if you want to get your lubrication right in the hole, if you put the lubrication on the drill bit and the flutes, it'll fall straight down into the hole. Okay, 1/4 next. With these keyless chucks, I also recommend rotating your drill bit when you're tightening it to make sure it's centered. Sorry, I'm a lefty, so because they can grab between jaws, which I've done before, so just in case I rotate. Lube. So again, to get the lube into the hole, I typically just use the flutes to direct it straight in. Okay, here's hole number 1. So for hole number 2, all I do is increment to number 2, and now you see that my X and Y axes are no longer 0, so without even looking at the table, I can just dial this in, sorry. There's X0, sorry, let me pull wide here, and Y0. So now I recommend highly that you verify that the hole will be where you want, but you can see right there, there's the second hole and we're good to go. So I'm going to do the remaining holes and I'll bring you back. So, because I didn't turn the outside of this round, it's not perfectly flat and square, so it doesn't sit parallel in the jaws exactly, which actually works to my advantage because I can rotate the parallels, one of them, and so I can keep it out of the way of the drill bit but still support the piece. Because when you're drilling these opposite two sides, it's going to want to rotate. So another solution is if I had a V-block big enough, you could grab both sides in a V-block and you get more points of contact. But I found this works pretty well. So I can just move this out of the way and I'm good to go. first we're going to take the pip off the end that was left when I parted these, and then we're going to use a roundover bit and round the end of these so that when this thing's spinning it doesn't damage whatever container you've got this thing rotating in when you're pulling the pork. So let's part the tip off. Now for the roundover bit. This is in this 1/4 inch diameter stock, and this is 1/8 inch diameter, 1/8 inch radius roundover. Things that make roundover bits a little challenging is that the deeper bite they take, the more material they're cutting simultaneously, until at the end you're cutting the entire radius simultaneously. So it makes it challenging, but there we go. Just gotta do 6 more. So here's the completed tool, some stainless steel welds on all sides to hold the pins in place and the shaft. Then we mount this in a drill motor. You take your pork, smoke it on the barbecue, put it in a bowl, take a drill motor and run this into it, and it should shred the pork nicely. So here we are ready to pull the pork. What did we do? What's the recipe include?
Well, we took the pork shoulder, probably 5 to 7 pounds, and we smoked it on our Traeger for 3 hours. And then we wrapped it up in foil and put it up to 250 for a couple of hours, closed up to cook it a little bit faster, and then opened it up for the last 2 hours at that 250.
Did you add anything to it when it was closed up, or?
We basted it every so often with apple juice.
Oh, okay. So I guess let's try it. Good. Oh, the dogs are coming in. So it looks like instant pulled pork, more or less. What do you think, it works?
Looks pretty good. I got a bit of a chunk here. Let's pull that off of the tines. Give it one more go.
The drill motor's on slow right now.
Even better.
High speed seems to work better.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Beats prodding with a fork.
Yep, not burning my hands like I normally do when I'm trying to grab hold of the pork. So this is much better. We're done.
So there it is. Hope you liked it. See you next time.